Hello, everybody. Welcome to day 4 of Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. I'm Beth Campbell, career coach and mentor, a bit of a dork sometimes, but taking everything very seriously. I'm a former corporate captive, now helping you find your work wonderland. So if you need some help to guide you through your career challenges or life challenges, send me a message or go to bethannecampbell.com/coach me. Thanks so much for being here. If you're watching live, please let me know that you're here in the comments. If you're watching the replay, give me a hashtag replay. And of course, let me know if you have any questions or feedback, and I'll address them either at the end of this episode or on a future episode. So today we're going to talk about chronic work stress. And I will just guess, if you're listening to this video, watching this video, that you have probably experienced chronic work stress in the past, or maybe you're experiencing it right now. It doesn't matter if you're in a traditional job, if you're a professional in the service industry, you're a business owner, a consultant, you work in McDonald's, you're a doorman, whatever it is, you probably have stress in your job right now, or you have in the past. So today we're going to dive into stress to understand it and a little nuance about stress that I've uncovered. And then some of our later sessions, we're going to explore ways that will help make it go away, or at least help it get better. All right, so the stress response that we as humans experience, it's not uncommon, and it's not, at least evolutionarily, it's not bad. It has a purpose. Stress is there for us to help us respond to a threat. When there's a real threat, like a tiger or an explosion, or somebody's coming at you in an empty parking lot at night with a bat, our bodies go through all kinds of changes, like physical changes that help us survive. The problem comes when the threat is perceived rather than real. Like, your dickhead boss is not a tiger. They're not going to eat you, I don't think. And that stress response gets triggered over and over and over, every day, every week, all month long, for years and years. And over time, this can wreak havoc in so many areas, physiologically in your body. I mean, mentally, of course, too. So many areas. It can affect your heart, your hormones, your blood pressure. You have an increased risk of heart attack and stroke, increased inflammation, cholesterol levels are affected, your immunity, heartburn, acid reflux, bloating, nausea. That was I experienced a lot of those types of symptoms when I was under chronic stress. Your reproductive system can be impacted. It can affect you differently as a woman or as a man. I mean, the list is endless. It goes on and on. So basically, we're killing ourselves for work. So it's important to understand chronic stress, to understand the impact on our health, and to put some energy into making it go away, or at least relieving it. And I mean, like, really relieving it, like really helping it, not like just taking a bath now and then, right? Taking a bath is fine, but that's not going to make it go away. So if I were to ask you, are you under stress at work, and have you been under stress for a while? And you answer yes, I will bet money that you are under a lot more stress than you think you are. So I think of myself as a pretty aware person. I'm pretty self-aware. I've recognized symptoms of chronic stress in myself for years, right? I had the stomach knots every Sunday afternoon, anticipating the Monday work day. I had meltdowns fairly regularly, especially like if I was having a tough time at work. I procrastinated with eating. Like, I compensated for the work shit show by eating a lot of high sugar junk foods. And this is a habit I still work on today. I was bitter and angry and frustrated most of the time. And I tried to hide it, but probably not well sometimes. I actually started craving complaining. There were times when I was probably depressed. Like, I don't know clinically, but I felt depressed. Like, and again, I was hiding it very well. I had no energy. My sleep was shit. I felt shame because sometimes I struggled to cope, even though I was 100% overwhelmed. I was doing the job of 2 or 3, sometimes 4 people, but I'm supposed to be the badass A player, so it definitely pinged me. I had rapid heartbeat. I had mood swings. I got sick a lot, and for long periods of time. Like, I would get sick And normal people, maybe that would last a week. For me, it would be like 4 or 5 weeks. I would be coughing for like it was still after 6 weeks. And towards the end, I felt hopeless and unvalued, even though I was telling others, don't let anybody determine your value. Somebody wise told me that once, but I didn't, I was letting somebody else determine my value. And I was aware of all of this. I knew I was stressed out and I knew that sometimes it was pretty bad. But I didn't leave, even though I wanted to, because I thought the stress of leaving the job would be far worse. And there was also a lot of fear. So I stayed for years after I really wanted to leave. And then one day, it was September 6th, 2023. I'm almost at my 1 year anniversary. I received a gift that changed my life. My position was eliminated from my toxic consulting job, and all of the stress, most of it, went away. And that didn't happen immediately. That took some time. I went through probably 3 or 4 weeks of panic trying to find my next job because we just lost over half of our household income. And then when kind of things settled down and I realized, the world didn't end. I'm still here, and financially we would be able to make it. We were okay. I made the decision that I was never going to go back to a traditional corporate job or consulting job, at least not unless it was on my terms, right? It was that moment when I made that decision, I wasn't going back. And it was a very specific moment. I physically felt the stress leave my body. It was like an emotional moment. It was liberating, kind of scary, but in a sort of an exciting sort of way. And then a few weeks later, after I kind of settled into the new normal of being my own boss and doing what I wanted, I started to feel chronically not shitty. Like I started to feel happy. I didn't have that cloud hanging over my head from the chaos, overworked, lack of fulfillment, and the general overwhelm of corporate life. I could now be my own badass boss. I had the freedom to help myself and others, and I had time to be creative, which was huge for me. For the first time in years, I was happy and fulfilled as the default. And it was weird. It was really, really weird. I mean, I'm a woman in my glory years. I'm supposed to be bitter and moody and frustrated. At least that's what they tell me. But I really felt blissful. And at some point, I kind of had this gut-wrenching realization that all that time that I had been in corporate for so many years, I had been under way, way more stress than I thought I was. Like exponentially more. It was so bad that I couldn't even see how bad it was. And that's the important thing. It kind of threw me like that I didn't realize how bad it was. I thought I was in like a moderate thunderstorm most days, but it was like a category 5 hurricane all the time. And then all of a sudden it's like sunshine and rainbows. And I didn't even care about the income loss. I was feeling so good. I had my mojo back, like really back. I think I started losing it about 2011, and certainly in the last 3 or 4 years, it was gone. And again, I hit it well. I somehow managed to play the badass, but I was a stressed out badass, and I just had no idea. So that is why it's important for you to recognize how much stress you're really under. Because if you're aware and if you already know that you're stressed and you can feel it day after day, it's probably a lot worse than you want to admit or that you recognize. But here's the great news. You can feel good. You can drop that stress like a bag of bricks. You can feel happy. You can feel full of joy. And you don't necessarily have to leave your job to do it like I did. So we're going to talk about a lot of things that can help you move forward and closer to career Xanadu, my favorite phrase, in the next, this is for 26 days. So don't forget to check back in. Okay. Everybody, let me know your thoughts, comments, and questions about chronic stress or anything else you have in your mind. And of course, if you need help with your mojo now, please send me a DM or go to bethannecampbell.com/coachme and let's see how we can get it back. All right, I'm going to go see if there are any comments. I see one. Stephanie, my friend, thank you so much. I love your support. You're just amazing. If you don't follow Stephanie, I will, I'm going to throw in a comment. I'm going to throw a link to her so you can follow her, or you can just click on her comment and follow her because she's awesome. Stress stresses your immune system. I know I've gotten through this, Beth. I know you've gotten through this, Beth, but I still want to reach out and give you a hug. Thank you, Stephanie. I hug you right back. Yeah, immunity is a big thing. Like, people don't think that about stress and the immunity maybe a lot. I mean, you think of the obvious things like, heart and, but you really don't think about that immunity effect. And for me, when I have been under stress, the length and the frequency of the illnesses that I get, even outside of COVID, even forgetting COVID, it's amazing. Like it's frustrating when you're like 6 weeks after you get ill and you're still coughing, and people are like at the office are like, what is going on with you? So it is definitely, and I've noticed that when I'm feeling better and feeling good about myself, that it's better, right? And there's a lot of connections, right? When you're under stress, you're not eating well. Eating well is eating a lot of high sugar stuff. Like that's what I do when I'm under stress. That's also inflammatory. It's not good for you, immunity and stuff like that. So there's a lot of 90% of doctor visits are rooted in stress related problems. Stephanie, I think that you're probably right. I would not dispute that at all. I mean, you heard the list of the things that we talked about, that stress impacts, and that's not even the full list, right? Your heart, your immunity, blood pressure, cholesterol, all of that stuff. So yeah, 100%. So it is important to understand, because again, one of the realizations that I had was I was under, and I didn't know this, friends. I didn't know this until I was out of the stress. Like when you're on a scale from 1 to 10, you're at a 20, and you can't even fathom like how bad it is. You need to get yourself down to like a 7 or an 8, until then you can kind of, okay, now I'm at a point where I can sort of absorb. You don't even know. I had no idea. I had no idea until I was out of it and the stress plummeted, how bad it really was and how good it can be. So that's the important thing. All right, tomorrow I'm going to talk about one of my favorite career topics ever: dealing with the office egos and asshats. Yes, inflated egos, shitty leaders, bad bosses, look out, we are coming after you. So don't forget to connect with me here on Facebook or LinkedIn. Thanks for joining me here and Get Out of the Rat Race Rut. You are here because you are a badass. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Stephanie.